Nothing like a nice early rando to get your day started. And we are underway. Ho! Ha! Hoo! We're just gonna give somebody a pounding with that thing right there. We have the hammer in Link's chest, or Link's house.
Yeah, getting an early permanent weapon is always nice in open mode.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if after checking the Uncle's Tunnel here, they just go right into escape.
Yeah, that would be a
just to
very
see
good
what's
play.
there. I believe this time is the reason the race is timed this way is because both runners wanted to run it at this time, and you know, it could be convenient for both of them, or it could be convenient for one of them, and one of them is just catering to the other. But either way, that means you get a nice early rando, or a nice late rando.
Yeah, and it looks like both of our runners are opting to come back out and head into the castle.
So looks like, I think that was the tier 3 tree pull because Yagamoth killed so many enemies, and it was red rupees, like the vanilla.
Yeah, so that's good knowledge that he has over his opponent right now, and he might make use of that going forward if rupees are a little rare.
Alright, so Yagamoth making his way down into the escape. We've got two keys now, or there was a key in the big chest, or the chest. There's no big chest in the escape. What's wrong with you? And by you, I mean me.
I think it has something to do with the 5 a.m.
I don't know what you're talking about. Everything is fine. Alright. So, Yagamoth and Maximum Barnage both entering this room at roughly the same time. Gonna kill this green guard, open the door, and finally we head into this room with the blue guard. Pick up a big love. It was the Sankheart. So if Yagamoth's trying to set up a death warp, he is going to be mistaken there.
Yeah, he was having a little bit of trouble with that hammer hitbox, but he made it through, and well, he'll probably want to set up a death warp anyway.
Very true. Alright, so we head down to the dungeon chest here. We've got the ball and chain guard. 2 hammer strikes will take care of the ball and chain guard, and that nets them another 10 arrows. Both players opting to save and quit out. Don't really blame them. And there's the power glove in Sanctuary. It's so bad.
We already have 2 of the items we need for Dark World access right off the bat.
Yeah, I think the seat got up on the right side of the bed this morning.
Yagamoth is making a very interesting play. He did get 1 bomb, so he's going right to the back of escape here.
Maximum Barnage also got that 1 bomb, but is not following suit. There's the burrito, and some more bombs, and 20 rupees. So if I'm him, I'm actually pretty satisfied with getting 3 bombs there, you know?
Absolutely, but as we saw on Maximum Barnage's side, the bush crab is dropping 4 bomb packs.
Yeah, so here in a second, he's going to be like, oh, should have just went this way. But what do you know? Now, another thing that Yagamoth could have done there was attempted to head to the chest in the sewer. There's one of them. It's very dark if you don't have the lamp. So it's not particularly easy, especially at this point. But it is doable.
Yeah, we know there is an item there based on finding the key in the map, but with only the hammer as your weapon and tracking mechanism, it's really tough to get to that chest.
Yeah, you want a sword so that you can see the sparkles. And you also have to kill that one rat with the key if you're going in that direction. So if you want bombs this seed, you know where to get them. Just grab a crab, or grab the bush off of a crab.
Someone left
You
their
did pick up
clothes
the blue
around
mail.
here in the forest.
Yep. We picked up the blue mail and the half magic. It's great. Of course I sleep. What are you talking about? Think I'm some kind of robot? Does not compute. 300 rupees in Blind's hut. And the fire rod.
So from the commentator's seat, I would love to see the runners pick up the Moon Pearl while they're still in Kakariko and just have a whole mess of options available to them.
Oh yeah. I mean, I kind of call that a bit of a miserable state when you have Dark World access so early on. You're just like, what do I go do? I got so much to do. I like to clear out a lot of the Light World options earlier because, well, it's easier. And by the way, Marksman Barnage just found something.
Yeah, there's that Moon Pearl I just mentioned.
We're going to be holding your Witch Tribunal here in about 3 weeks. Make sure you show up.
So what would be really fun is if they get the mirror too, and then they can route a lot of stuff together.
Alright, so 3 crystals in the Light World. And incoming mirror in the chicken hut? Yes? No? No, okay. Yeah, that would be interesting. If they found a sword right now, they could just go to Skullwoods.
That's absolutely true.
Maximum Barnage picking up another heart piece, making that 7 hearts, which is the bare minimum I would want to go to Skullwoods with.
Yeah, and having the early blue mail 7 hearts is not too bad in the Dark World, at least if you stay, in the overworld and the easier dungeons.
Right, just 5 arrow upgrade in the library, and I feel like I have enough progression. I'm not YOLOing the race game. I am going to come down here and look at it. Yeah, just bombs.
So it looks like Maximum Barnage will be doing exactly what Yagamoth did before Kakariko.
Yep.
Although he does have that fire rod, so he may opt to go into that dark room chest.
Yeah, there are some torches in those rooms. I think in every room on the way down there are torches that you can light. And having picked up the half magic, that also refills your magic, so you're gonna have plenty. He's thinking about it, and then he's going for it. So he's using the blue boomerang to navigate here.
And it looks like Yagamoth is walking back up towards the Dark World portal.
Oh wow, so Yagamoth making the early Dark World play. This could be huge. Okay, there might not be a torch in that room. I have no idea about this room, but it's fine. And there are torches in the room with the chest, so you don't really have to fumble around.
Yeah, I think in the room without the torches there, you have the water on the ground, which you can use to track your location, so it's not too bad.
Yeah. Alright, so who's excited for early Dark World? I am. We got Just a bomb upgrade in that chest in the basement, but at least it's not hanging in the back of your mind. Alright, we got a Dark World check. We've got pendants at Turtle Rock, Misery Mire, and Palace of Darkness. And we got 5 and 6 at Swamp Palace and Ice Palace.
So Mire and Turtle Rock being
Mire.
pendants is an interesting thing. If we don't find the cane, it might not be required.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be cane. It could be, but it doesn't have to be. So the win-loss records are 1 and 2. So both of them fighting for their tournament semi-lives here.
So we're in Skull Woods, less than 11 minutes into the race. Always like to see that.
It's version 26. We are heading to Skull Woods.
Not living up to the hype so far, though. Just 10 arrows in the as a first item. And on Maximum Barnage's side, we're about to see Mini Moldorm Cave.
This is a very, very solid, interesting route divergence. Picking up that full magic refill with the boomerang. Gotta love it. Yagamoth doing a nice little bomb jump to get to the big chest. There's just a small key.
Both of our runners coming up empty in their respective checks there.
Yagamoth will be heading to the vanilla big key chest, and that will, and then can actually proceed into the back end of Skull Woods, where there's a chest that can be checked. Can't actually make it all the way to Mothula yet. Oh, Yagamoth cleans out the enemies in that room and gets grabbed by a fall master, as I like to call them.
Yeah, and if he doesn't find the last item here, it probably is a good idea to check that extra chest in the back, because you could find a sword there.
Meanwhile, Maximum Barnage making the play on Saha's Rala and finding a bottle with, it was either blue or green goo, I got a little confused, and the Quake Medallion.
Of course, with the pendant dungeons, unless there are required items in there, that Quake Medallion might not see any use.
Indeed. Alright, so Yagamoth going to this out-of-the-way chest here in the back half of Skull Woods. You know what I want to see here? The book.
That would be great. And we're getting some Hype Cave on Barnage's side.
Just a piece of heart.
Oh, there's your book.
Nice! So the book is in Hype Cave. And then, like, just a bunch of rubies.
So Skullwood's coming up empty, but Yagamoth is probably just going to backtrack to Village of Outcasts.
So, I may have missed it. Did we see the first item for Skull Woods, or was that the first item?
It was a 10 arrow.
Ah, thank you. Alright, so Maximum Barnage is heading up to Mr. J.R. Stumpsman. And he's got a sword.
So that's going to work out very nicely for Maximum Barnage. He'll be able to finish Skullwoods when he makes his way up there, and it is a crystal.
Yep, sure is. I don't know if I liked the idea of going in there with Fighter's Sword and 7 hearts, but you could do it. It's especially if you know, actually know how to play the game.
He does have half magic and fire rod and also hammer, so
There is
I
that.
would expect that he will go in. But it's not an easy fight by any means.
All right, so there's another bottle with some green goo in it in the digging game.
So we have a question in the chat about the tournament structure. Right now, we are in the Swiss phase of the tournament, where each runner will have 6 matches, 1 match per week, and they will get matched with opponents of like records. At the end of the Swiss stage, everybody with 4 wins or more will move on to the group stage, and there will also be a race between all runners with 3 wins, where the top 6 will also join the group stage.
Yeah, I think there's a chance that we end up with maybe 33 4-0s and it goes to 7, but it depends on the way the pairings go.
Yep, and then the group stage, you'll have 8 groups, and the top 2 from each group will move on to a 16-player bracket.
Yeah. And another little caveat there, because I know Problems is in the chat. You're going to get paired against like records unless there's an odd number of people with your like record, and then you're going to get paired differently.
I think we might be having a pedestal check.
Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a pedestal check this early in the route, and Maximum Barnage put pedestal hype in his name, so he is hoping for this pedestal. Have a better defense in front of you. I believe that is a shield, and so we will not be seeing the pedestal pull today.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Trinex and Vitreous and King Helmasaur go down just for a shield.
Yep. Now, for all we know, we may see them go down for other things.
Very true.
But you wanna know for sure. Alright, so now it looks like Maximum Barnage will be, following the footsteps of Yagamoth and heading up to the Skull Woods play. But once again, we know that he has a sword and can actually finish the dungeon if he so desires. So that just an immediate drop on the pedestal hype index to about a 0.
The one interesting thing that tells you is that because Turtle Rock's a pendant, if for the laser bridge to be in the logic, we will need to find an invincibility item prior to Ganons Tower.
Correct. There will need to be either the Cane of Burna or the cape, the magic cape, available to both of these players. Because it is clear that the developers intended for you to not be able to get to those chests without at least one of those things. But a lot of people know how to get around those.
I suppose if every small key is before the laser bridge, maybe that's not quite true, but then you'd have to double dip by the logic, technically.
There is that. Alright, so Yagamoth picks up a piece of heart on the pyramid, and it looks like he's gonna head for Catfish. Catfish is a pretty interesting early play.
So Yagamoth has done a pretty thorough clear of the dark overworld, but he has not yet been to Mini Moldorm Cave, which is an interesting route that this seed gave us.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen, and potentially in concert with the fake flippers heading up to Zora and the waterfall cave. Pretty soon.
Yeah, that would be a great play. Also, Thieves Town is a crystal and fully clearable, so I would expect our runners to make their way there fairly soon if they run out of other better options.
Yeah. So I'm told that Yagamoth checked the catfish there to make sure that he would check catfish, because apparently it burned him earlier on in the tournament. Alright, so Yagamoth is heading to the mini Moldorm cave, electing not to check the dam, which makes a little bit of sense when you have the book, because you'll head that direction when you're going to desert.
Yeah, I definitely expect him to combo the dam with Agonist Cave and Desert Palace.
Alright, so Maximum Barnage is going to Mothula, gonna try to finish off this dungeon. With 6.5 hearts, fighter sword, but plenty of magic. Gonna add a little more to that after picking it up a pot heading down. Getting in a fighter sword spin on Mothula. That's gonna deal as much as a Master Sword slash or a Fire Rod hit.
And he's being very patient, using the sword to help him line up some Fire Rod shots, and there he goes.
Well done. That wasn't nearly as painful as I thought it was going to be.
We have our first crystal about 22 minutes in from the Dark World. Not a common occurrence, but nice to see.
Yep. I do note that neither player has been to Eastern Palace, which is most of the time a very early play. So Maximum Barnage going to finish off Skull Woods here. Grabbing that last heart piece.
So given that Maximum Barnage did not save and quit, I would imagine he's planning to go to that Village of Outcasts, and I would actually expect him to go into Thieves Town while he's there.
Yeah, that does seem likely. See, he's already done most of the South Dark World route, so there's not much else to do. Interesting. So Yagamoth electing not to do the fake flipper play, and instead heading over to Desert after checking Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, it is an interesting play. Right now, only Zora is in the logic out of everything you could get to there, but there are quite a few items. You can get the Waterfall Cave, and also Hobo if you wanted to.
There's a Yagamoth restocking on bombs from the crab there. You gotta love it when the crabs have tons of bombs.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to worry about that for the rest of the run. Every once in a while, you get the rando seed where you have about as many bombs as you have in the NMG run.
I feel like we had to have seen the stun drop at this point.
Yeah, I don't recall what it was.
Yeah, neither do I. But I think Maximum Barnage threw some boomerangs at people. I just can't remember what dropped. So not a whole lot in the Village of Outcasts, and Maximum Barnage will now be heading into Thieves Town. Or not. Pay no attention to that commentator behind the curtain.
So if nothing else, Yagamoth will get some great knowledge here as to whether boots are required to complete the 7 crystals.
That is true. If boots are not required, then Yagamoth will be able to finish this dungeon. Alright, so small key in that chest. That means we still are live for a possible completable desert palace.
We have a Master Sword.
Alright, so another sword. And the big key. So, Desert Palace is wide open.
Yep, so right now, boots are only necessary if an required item is locked behind them, or if the big key is on that torch in Ganon's Tower. One of my favorite ways for boots to be required is if the hookshot is locked within Mire.
Yeah, that is a possibility. You can absolutely have boots required with hookshot in Mire. There's always everybody's favorite Ganon's torch. What else? Required item behind some bonk rocks. All sorts of things.
Yeah, but right now, if you're in Yagamoth's shoes, you're thinking, well, I'm not going to be dashing at all today. Maximum Barnage making his way through the bootless, hookshotless hellway.
Gross.
But gets through all right.
Yeah, nobody likes that hall. It's bad. Nobody likes it. Alright, so it looks like Yagamoth will be heading over to fight Land Molas.
So we have the Ice Rod in Thieves Town, which hopefully for our runners is not required.
But, you know, I have seen Pendant Turtle Rock carrying more items than I care to count.
Absolutely.
What is it with people in bow on Trinexx? I mean, it happens. And I've seen it happen. But why?
I've seen
wish
bow.
that on your worst enemy.
I've seen flute, and I have seen Mire on Trinexx, all required.
Alright, so Max Barnes taking care of that red Zazak. That's the actual name of those, I found out.
I'll have to file that one away.
I think it's probably Zazak, if we're going by the Japanese pronunciation. Alright, so Yagamoth is probably gonna go check the sick kid here. And the mushroom from the sick kid. So, would you like to do a fetch quest?
Man, I'm a fan of the nested fetch quests.
Recursive fetch quests. Blind, apparently not a fan of insect puns.
Looks like we're getting our pedestal check on Yagamoth's side.
Yep. It seems like a reasonable play at this point. Knowing that it's a pedestal seed is such a huge piece of information that if you don't have it from your opponent, or if your opponent doesn't have it, you're gonna win. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah, it definitely changes your decisions as far as what you prioritize.
A very nice blind fight on Maximum Barnes' side, and picks up his second crystal. So we have 2-1 in crystals at the moment. And I imagine Yagamoth will probably be making the same play that Maximum Barnes just did and head into Thieves Town.
And likewise, on Maximum Barnes' side, I expect him to head to Desert. So it's worth thinking, what haven't we seen from one of our runners at this point?
Well, we haven't seen the Zora check. Ooh, Maximum Barnage is doing a fake flipper into this portal here.
Yeah, turning in the mushroom, that's actually a great play.
Yeah. Very nice. Turn in that mushroom. We'll get to see what that mushroom does. Just a piece of heart. So after all that hype for the nested fetch quest, it's a big pile of nothing.
Yeah, unfortunately. I think our runners might end up having to go to Eastern pretty soon, even though they skipped it early.
So Maximum Barnes is doing another fake flipper to get back. Very nice. So that's a play you don't see too often. It's a fast way to get to that witch without the flute.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen the fake flipper back, but since he wants to head to Desert next, it makes a lot of sense, and it's a great time saver.
Yeah. Yeah, there used to be a version of the logic where you had to have the book to get pedestal. Like, the book was not allowed to be on the pedestal. That is no longer the case.
No, I think it was Christos's race, or I'm not sure, but there was a blind book pedestal, and that they needed that for Ether Tablet.
Yeah, I believe that was the case. Wasn't it AA and Christos?
Yeah, that sounds right.
In the chat right now. AA's in the chat right now. He can confirm that. Alright, so Yagamoth making his way through Grasshopper Alley, picking up that ice rod, while Maximum Barnes will be heading over to pick up the Master Sword. Alright, so, ladies and gentlemen, we are heading to pick up our third and second crystals respectively. Should be pretty soon when that happens. But we still have yet to find the bow. We've yet to find the Titansmiths. We don't have the Cane of Samaria, which may or may not be required for this particular seed. There's a few medallions we haven't seen. So there's just still many items at large, as well as the lamp, which you're going to want to have to go into some of these dark rooms. Although 3 of the dungeons with major dark rooms are pendants.
Yeah, it's really an interesting progression here. I expect there's something in the Eastern Palace area, but outside of that, in Zora, there isn't too much we haven't seen from one of our runners. So it'll be interesting to see where they decide to go.
So, Yagamoth doing the blind fight. Pretty straightforward. 9 hits with any sword, doesn't matter. Not even sure it's a damage table. I think it just might be, you know, 3 hits and change phase.
I think I saw somebody say that there is a damage table, but the game kind of ignores it in a way.
Interesting. Yeah, I should look into the code. Yeah, purely cycle based. All right, so looks like we're gonna get to see a slight change in the routing here. Where will Yagamoth be going next?
Looks like he's doing that mushroom check too.
This is a flipper pixel that not everybody is familiar with, and it looks like Yagamoth's gonna try to bomb himself into it, but then he bombs himself into the water.
Yeah, a little bit of trouble, but he did get there eventually.
So for those of us who don't know, I realize that it's early, and if you're up watching Rando this early, you probably know. But for those of us who don't know about that fake flipper glitch, it's all about being on the exact last pixel before the transition. You land in the water, and you have 1 frame to move, and so you can move to the next screen, and then it skips the "Do you have flippers?" check.
Yep, and that's why using a bomb is actually a nice fail-safe strat, because the bomb will blow you backwards right against the edge of the screen.
So it looks like Maximum Barnage will now be making the play on Eastern Palace. Potentially Pod. Not sure where he's headed. Okay, Eastern.
Yeah, it looks like Eastern first, and then if he comes up empty, I don't think there's many other options besides going down to the portal and dipping into Pod.
That is true. You don't like to go into Palace of Darkness without the bow. Though sometimes you do like to, because you can get some information that way.
Yeah, and it is the rare but frustrating seed that does make you go into Pod without the bow, so that we might be in one of those right now.
So, just a compass in the first chest there in Eastern Palace.
So after having wildly divergent paths early on, our runners are going to be in the same dungeon at the same time with mostly the same locations checked.
Now, neither player has been to Death Mountain either, but that would be a sequence break at the moment because they don't have any lamp or flute.
Yeah, and also they don't have the mirror or the hookshot, so they can only get the item from the old man and Spectacle Rock.
Interesting. Looks like Maximum Barnage threw the pot the wrong direction and killed something that was there but not there.
This is an extremely well-programmed game.
Yep. There's no duct tape here. There's the bow in its vanilla location.
So that's really interesting. That actually makes the logic point towards Pod because he's going to be heading into dark rooms here.
Yep. So you could easily see the lamp in Palace of Darkness. Now, if you are, if you want to, you can go through these dark rooms in Eastern Palace, and I imagine most of our runners are fairly familiar with how to get that done.
Yeah, absolutely. And even though the dark room on the path to the boss is a little bit tricky, our runners have the fire rod, and there are plentiful lamps in that room, so they could just use that to make it a little bit easier.
I keep forgetting you can light torches. Maximum Barnage gets down to 1 heart before he spawns this chest. It's got a fire shield in it. And
so it looks like Yagamoth. Oh, yep. It looks like Yagamoth is gambling on Armos having the last item.
Interesting. Well, we both know that's not going to be the case, but big deal, because it's a shield. Where did Maximum Barnage find the fighter's shield?
That is on the desert ledge, and he opted to go pick it up while Yagamoth did not.
Right. And we both know that the mirror shield will not be happening.
So it will be interesting to see if Yagamoth comes back in for that last chest, or if he just goes straight to Pod with that bow.
So, unfortunately, the mirror shield can't be required by the logic for Turtle Rock. Well, I guess it could. Should get all the small keys beforehand.
Yep, that's the only way. If a small key is on the laser bridge, then no required item would be there unless we find invincibility.
Yeah, so that's what you were talking about earlier. For some reason, I had it in my mind you were saying if all the small keys are on the laser bridge, which I don't think that's possible.
Well, we're playing Entrance Shuffle.
What?
Okay, maybe not.
I do love me some Entrance Shuffle, though. I don't know if anybody caught the finals of the tournament yesterday, but that was pretty cool. It's back and forth there for a bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did not catch it, but I do plan to go back and watch it.
I will not spoil it for you then.
Well, I know who won, but I still want to watch it.
So Yagamoth, that gamble for the last item at Armos did not pay off, and we'll be heading back into Eastern to finish that off.
Yeah, so the save and quit from Maximum Barnage is a little interesting. I would have expected him to go straight down to the pod portal.
Yeah. Well, this likely means that he is planning on checking something else, perhaps Death Mountain or something else along those lines. I mean, at this point, it looks like Death Mountain, but
yeah, that seems to be the play.
Once again, Death Mountain requiring lamp or flute to get to by the logic, so this will also be a sequence break. But the old man's cave, or the old man rescue cave on the way up Death Mountain is pretty easy to do in the dark, I think.
Yeah, I think most experienced runners, when they took away the Light World free cones, just came in here and figured it out like the first time. It's a pretty straightforward room.
Alright, so Yagamoth takes a Death Warp. It's possible that Yagamoth will be wanting to make the play on Palace of Darkness immediately, and this is about the fastest way to get there with their current setup. So, Maximum Barnage can actually only check one acquire only one more item right now here on Death Mountain. But he did pick up that warp location, or that save and quit location.
Yeah, and it's nice to have that save and quit location, but
Oh.
he will have to backtrack, and we see our validation arrow.
In the Spectacle Rock Cave, so
I don't know. Barnage
Old
not
man, I believe, is a
opting
piece
to
of
pick it
art.
up. I don't know if that's a DQ or what.
no, I think there are other ways to validate your run.
I think he just doesn't automatically win. I think he's just giving Yagamoth a chance at this point.
All right, so Yagamoth is making the play for Palace of Darkness. So Palace of Darkness, also known... Ooh, losing Kiki there for a bit. Palace of Darkness, also known as the Mullet Mansion, for reasons I'm sure will become apparent. Yeah,
So
don't
what?
you see all the mullets there?
So I think Maximum Barnage's play makes a little bit more sense. He's probably thinking there were some stray locations that he had not cleared up, and the lamp might be in one of those, which would make his
True.
pod clear a lot easier.
And we could see Lamp from Zora.
Zora's been available for quite a while, and neither of our runners have checked him yet. So, while Life Lessons seems to be the most probable outcome, he could be sitting on Titan's Bits for all we know.
Yep. Very entirely possible. Right, Yagamoth throwing that bomb, making the eventual acquisition of that chest a little bit faster. And slightly missing a toss on the floor here to get to the vanilla big key chest. Maximum Barnage checking the hobo, finding a heart container. Just 10 arrows in that vanilla big key chest. Oh, the mirror!
That's
The
a great
mirror is
find.
there. And that was in one of the locations that's technically not bow locked by the logic.
That's true. So the lamp could be in a mirror spot, and the logic could expect them to leave and come back.
Ugh. Now, of course, the logic may not require them to actually finish Palace of Darkness.
That's true. Just leaving could be a good play at this point. That mirror opens up all of Death Mountain in the light world.
Indeed. Well, minus the lamp and the flute.
Good point.
Alright, so didn't look like much in the waterfall cave today. Apparently Herfy Durfy is in pod. So we have that. And Zora has just another bottle with some blue goo in it. That's not the worst thing to get from Zora.
It's not, but it certainly, when you get it, you certainly feel like you've wasted some time.
So Yagamoth heading down into the rupee horde here. It's a piece of heart. And a full heart. So
Yeah,
yes,
so
that is some Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, we're just down to one more item here in pod.
Wow, yeah. Normally you don't see the items until much later. Alright, another small key. So Yagamoth will be making his way into the dark maze.
Yeah, one of the items will be the big key, and then I'm sure
Yes.
he's hoping to find the last item up here in the dark maze or in the big chest.
Yeah, so the dark maze can be a little tricky to navigate. Most of our runners in this portion of the tournament have memorized it. If I'm not mistaken, the big key doesn't actually show up in the dark.
It does not, but he knows now that the next chest has to be the big key.
Yes. There it is. Checking his map to see what it was, or his inventory. He's already blown up this wall so we can see what's in the big chest, and what is it? Piece of heart. So pod is a bust, minus the mirror.
Yeah, and I think I agree with just clearing it out while he's here. It would seem likely that the mirror was the intended progression, but at the same time, you don't want to have to backtrack to Pendant Pod.
Indeed. So, Maximum Barnage will be heading over to do the same thing. Go into pod, get some stuff. He may leave as soon as he gets the mirror. You never know.
And it looks like at this point, Yagamoth is saying, okay, I got a lot more out of my sequence break here, so I'm going to make that play.
So, Yagamoth actually going to head to the Death Mountain, and we'll be able to check far more chests than Maximum Barnage.
So the interesting thing here is that there has to be progression in one of the mirror spots that just unlocked. So we have the south of Grove Cave, we have the north of Graveyard Cave.
Yep. So south of Grove, north of Graveyard. Yeah.
So if it's just the lamp, then our runners are probably just fine skipping it. But if it's actually the flute, that could make getting around easier, and they might not need that either by the logic. So it could be interesting.
Let's see. I'm thinking for ultimate troll purposes, flippers.
Flippers would be great. Then the logic putting them into
swamp
the
without
half
the
of
hook
swamp.
shot.
That would be a nice intended logic progression.
So yeah, Yagamoth can go into the Tower of Hera. He can head to the east side of Death Mountain to pick up chests in the so-called Paradox Cave. So we've got options all over the place. You can also check the Ether Tablet, which is what he's doing right now.
Man, Maximum Barnage almost made the play there to leave after getting the mirror. But now he is heading onwards.
So they've done every dark room at this point that is definitely required.
Yeah, that's true. Most of the dark room dungeons are pendants.
Yeah, so Misery Mire pendant, Turtle Rock pendant. It's like this seed wants to be lampless, even though it can't be by the logic. Every seed Every single seed will have the lamp required. And there's the Titan's mitts in Hera.
Yeah, so now we're really opened up.
Wow. And the Bombos medallion. Did you see that bomb jump strat?
I have never seen that setup before, but it's very looks extremely consistent for
That is neat. Somebody clip that. Alright. So Yagamoth heading up to Trolldorm. And no trolling today. 3 spins with the Master Sword, and that will take down Moldorm in the Tower of Hera. Both items found. So we will not be going to the basement. Meanwhile, Maximum Barnage is going into the Dark Maze to try to finish off the items in Palace of Darkness. So the acquisition of the Power Glove here means that Yagamoth can, in fact, check the entirety of the dark side of Death Mountain as well, minus the Hookshot Cave. So in that case, it's just... Speaking of Hookshot, was that it on the mountain, or was that on the floating island, or was I making that up?
I did not catch it, but I think Yagamoth did, so we'll find out very soon.
It looked like the hookshot to me.
Well, that's a great find then.
So, speaking of Hookshot Cave, you have to go through there to get to that, so there you go. Having that mirror from Pod, he will be able to pick up the hookshot.
And now I'm definitely wondering if your call of flippers is correct.
That would be hilarious.
Because the lamp could very easily be in the front half of Swamp.
Indeed. And at this rate, we may not even see it. They may get into go mode and just do it.
Very true.
So, if you get all the items here except the red cane, do you consider yourself in go mode?
I would definitely play it that way.
Alright. That does seem like the play. It's about a 75% chance that you're in go mode.
Like in Swamp Palace, I would probably check the push block chest and the 2 that you have to go down to, but just easy chests, but I would not go out of my way to search for the red cane.
Oh, well, never mind.
And there we go.
Oh, you have quite a treasure there in that cane of Samaria. I'm told that if you read the fine print, it does in fact have to be cane.
So the South of Grove was not the progression.
Yep. So it's got to be Graveyard Ledge, as far as I can tell. Unless I'm missing something. So Yagamoth is heading over to Turtle Rock, gonna open the portal here at least, figure out what that what medallion is required to enter.
We were forgetting one other location here that Maximum Barnage is checking.
Oh yeah, Bombos tablet. Nice. He is in fact opening Turtle Rock. Will he go inside Turtle Rock is another question altogether. The flute on Bombos tablet.
So there's our way up to Death Mountain.
Flute on Bombos tablet. So I apologize for what's about to happen. But I may have more lyrics to the Swag Duck song. And the warning is, I wrote these before the seed happened, so don't blame me.
I think everybody is just eager with their anticipation right now.
All right. So if everyone will please rise for the presentation of our national colors. I know you do your best in this gigantic quest, and throughout all the rest, you'll do some good. But if you're in a fix, you should just recall this. It is V26. Go to Skullwoods.
Well done. Bravo.
Now, of course, Skullwoods was completely dead in this version, but
So Yagamoth did pick up the tempered sword after he got that hook shot. So with the flippers still at large, I would not be surprised to see Yagamoth dip into Turtle Rock here.
yeah.
It actually seems like the correct play because they can't be in Ice Palace and they obviously can't be in Swamp. So we're kind of running out of crystals with items.
It is true. And Turtle Rock has 5 items. And it is 100% completable at this point. Minus the fact that the logic will not allow them to do the laser bridge. I mean,
Yeah, the
not at the
only
moment.
difference is Yagamoth does not know what the progression that's mirror locked is, and he's just taking a bet that it's not the flippers, which is going to work out for him.
All right. Yeah, there could be a scenario in where the flippers are locked by the flute. For example, if it's in Mire or the Mire area,
Very
the
true.
checkboard cave. Max. So Maxim Barnage is going into Hera. Yagamoth having a little bit of trouble with the torches there in Turtle Rock, but pulls it off. So how many small keys you want? Is the answer all of them?
The front is always small key loaded when you're not in go mode.
Yep. I think Turtle Rock also deserves a mullet. Pretending to be business in the front and party in the back. Alright, so
It's got to be a little bit careful here in the chomp room, down to 3.5 hearts.
yep. Chomps are not fun. There's Ether. So if Ether is required for, say, Misery Mire, which contains the flippers, or some silliness, then who knows what's going on.
Yeah, Ether for Mire for flippers just seems like V26.
So, yeah, Amazing Ambrose in the chat makes a good point. There's no turtles anywhere in Turtle Rock. And
Well,
there's
one.
And I mean, he's more of like a Hydra turtle.
That's fair. Oh,
The
we got the boots.
The boots in Turtle Rock. Oh.
What is this, V26?
Yeah, I'm told it is actually. Crazy Jesse in the chat asked, "Are there any runs after this one?" The answer is yes. There is a run directly after this one, 8 o'clock. We will have another race. As far as I know, right here on this channel. And Yagamoth heading to the Mimic Cave.
So Yagamoth is just finding a lot of stuff that opens up other stuff here in Turtle Rock, which seems about par for the course.
Just 20 rupees in the Mimic Cave, not a particularly lucrative location there. And so Maximum Barnage will be getting a fair amount of items here out of the Paradox Cave, including the Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, and I would actually expect him to follow suit once he makes his way to the Dark World and finds that hook shot and sees that he can get into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, T-Rock seems like the play. And having those boots, that'll be at least a little bit of a faster play. And there are a couple of locations that require the boots, so you never know.
Yep, and it does seem like Yagamoth is opting to get every item out of here. The fact that we haven't found the lamp yet does make you wonder if maybe the progression is elsewhere, but it makes a lot of sense just to get this out of the way while you're here.
Very true. Alright, so Yagamoth heading over to the laser bridge. A nicely done skip on the first one, and the second, and the third. Oh, missing the fourth. So the laser skip takes advantage of the fact that the only part of the laser that hurts is the very tip. And so Yagamoth is going to peace out, having counted all the items and realizing nothing can be on Trinex. Meanwhile, Maximum Barnage going to pick up his hook shot.
Yep, and Yagamoth is going to check the flanctuary locations.
Flanctuary locations, so called because they are on both sides of the sanctuary, and they both require the same item, the boots, to get in. Though this one that he's in right now also requires either the Titan's mitts or the mirror and access to this part of the Dark World. So Tempered Sword was inside the Hookshot Cave, which I neglected to mention as it happened last time.
Yep, so Maximum Barnage will be picking it up very shortly.
There's a whole lot of diddly squat in those flanctuary locations. And I'm thinking Yagamoth might check Graveyard Ledge.
He might actually be doing the Smith and the Hammer Pegs as well. We'll see.
Yeah. Or he's going to finish Skullwoods, which he didn't do the first time. Because he didn't have the Fire Rod. Yep. No, he had the Fire Rod.
He did not have a sword yet while he was here.
He didn't have a sword.
And now that he has Tempered and he was in the area, there's no reason to put it off anymore.
Yeah, the tempered sword makes Mothula pretty easy.
And Yagamoth might be under the impression that the item that he sequence broke around is the lamp. So he might think, hey, the flute's not required in this seed, so let's just get this now.
So Yagamoth making his way through that torch room. Both players making their way through torch rooms simultaneously.
Yagamoth just barely getting grabbed by the hand there. The worst feeling is getting grabbed out of the pit by the what did you call them before?
I called them Fall Masters.
Fall Master, yes.
Because they fall from the ceiling. It's kind of a pun. It looks like to me that Yagamoth has the red mail. I don't remember that happening. I think you tell what the mail is on the Mog sprite by the little pixels around the edges. No, I'm making that up. It's the little palm on top of his head. It just looked really red on my screen for some reason. All right, I am learning new things about the new sprites every day. So Maxim Barnes grabs that key. Once again, he also will be acquiring the boots.
And Yagamoth is doing the blacksmith quest.
Yep. Sure is blacksmith time.
So it'll be interesting. He will likely check the Bombos tablet at the end of this route and find his flute as well.
Yep. And that will nicely piece together his sequence break in his head.
Although he very well could find the flippers and just cut off the route before that.
There's that. So we've got bomb upgrade in the peg cave. And the blacksmiths themselves. I like to call them Isaiah and Jeremiah, because Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Now he's not. And picks up the purple chest. There's a little issues trying to dash away using hookshot strats. Yeah, I believe if you start dashing before the chest catches up to you, then it works.
Yep, I think that's correct.
Yeah, that is a very interesting observation made by the chat. If we, since the flippers will be the go mode item, we are guaranteed that we can do both Swamp Palace and Ice Palace in go mode, which is just so good. That's one of the fastest things you can do.
Yeah, unfortunately, we did have a full clear of Pendant Turtle Rock before that, but yeah, go moding both Ice and Swamp is a nice thing to have available.
Yeah, well, it's a nice consolation prize after having to do that.
Absolutely.
Well, let's see what the purple chest holds today. 50 rupees. And Yagamoth gonna be picking up that flute. And to be honest, after picking up this flute, I wouldn't be surprised if he immediately unlocks it and flutes to 6.
Yeah, he doesn't have many options available outside of that, so I think that's going to be his play.
Yeah, neither player has done the graveyard ledge. And that's about the only outstanding location I can think of.
That would be a very nice troll.
I also think Yagamoth never checked the dark escape chest.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he skipped that.
But until he finds the lamp, I don't think he's going to, because he knows it can't be progression.
Yeah, we haven't found any progression items behind lamp block locations, so that's probably just hanging out in either ice or swamp at this point.
There's also Spike Cave. But at the moment, Spike Cave is also blocked by the logic. In order to make this game compatible with the one-hit KO mode, they made it where the logic will never require you to take damage. So the Spike Cave now requires the Cane of Burna or the Cape plus either a bottle or half magic.
Looks like Yagamoth is preparing for a required Misery Mire as well.
Alright. So, Yagamoth gonna dip into this Mire shed and hope for flippers. Nothing there, and so Yagamoth will probably check the checkerboard cave first and then head into Mire.
And the good news is you'll either find the lamp in Mire or you just won't have to kill Vitreous for logic progression.
True. So there's the bug net in the checkerboard cave, so nothing important, but certainly not the worst thing you've ever seen. Meanwhile, Maximum Barnage will be checking the graveyard ledge, so we'll get that piece of information as well. If it turns out to be the flippers, this will be huge. Just a heart container.
Yeah, so right now it looks like Mire's the play.
Yep. So inside Mire, thinking for maximum troll purposes, we'll find the Cane of Burna, and then we'll find the flippers in the Spike Cave. Nope, there they are. Flippers are right there in the first chest in Mire. So a completely painless trip to Mire, and we move on.
And with that, Yagamoth has reached Go mode.
Go mode acquired. And the lamp was never found. Where's the lamp? I don't know.
It's in Ice Palace or Swamp, most likely.
Yeah. I mean, it's still here. Or it's still part of that progression.
They'll probably just get it off a cold stare or something like that.
So really, the only thing that was required here was that flute to get over here to Mire, grab the flippers, and if the lamp turns out to be in one of these locations, they just expected you to do Eastern last and just jump into pod for the mirror.
Yep, that's about it.
Because you didn't need the bow to get that mirror.
Yep, the only progression that's lamp locked in this seed is the Eastern Palace Crystal. So, yeah.
So Yagamoth now doing the Go Mode Ice Palace. So this is all about the execution now. No more routing can save you.
I think this is literally the least lamp locked a seed can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The lamp will always be required for some part of the seed. Because there are 4 dungeons that require the lamp to finish. And only 3 of them can be pendants.
Yep, and Maxim Barnage is now also in go mode, and he's opting to go for Swamp Palace first.
So Yagamoth is having some issues with the Ice Palace bomb jump. I imagine it has something to do with the fact that, using a different sprite, which you might not be used to. And there we go. Yagamoth takes care of it. And Maximum Barnage decides to go into Swamp first. There's really no advantage one way or the other.
Yeah, the one nice thing about doing Swamp first is that you can just go right on over to Ice Palace Mirror and be right there.
There's that. Now, the interesting part of Maximum Barnage's play is, so one thing you got to remember is we don't have the silver arrows yet. And so some players may opt to open a few more chests that are along the way to pick them up. In this particular scenario, if I were Maximum Barnage, I think I would probably just pick up, the one where you push the block in the waterfall room before heading to Argus.
Yeah, I might even add in the 2 in the south room, and the reason why is you could also find the lamp, which makes the torch glitch a whole lot easier to get.
Yeah, the lamp is a much easier torch glitch option, especially if you have to do silverless.
So Yagamoth finishes off his cold stare fight and grabs that 6th crystal.
Mm-hmm. So 6 crystals for Yagamoth, and Maximum Barnage will be picking up his 6th crystal shortly. As he heads back toward Argus.
I would say Yagamoth still has a slight lead, but Maximum Barnage is not that far behind, and he could, based on execution, it could get really close in the end here.
Yeah, so Yagamoth almost fluting to 7, and then fluting to 4. There's the silvers! And the butter sword! What?
They relocated the waterfall, or the
the factory is now in Swamp Palace.
In that room. Nice check there.
Wow. Wow.
So this
So
could very
if
well come down to Yaga checking that room or not.
Yeah, if Yagamoth does what I said I would do and just checks that one chest, he's gonna be in for a world of hurt. Because I think the difference between silvers and non-silvers is about the difference between them right now.
And also, easy mode on the first two phases of Ganon. You don't even have to try hard to get that 1-1.
Yep, just needs 6 slashes per phase with the butter sword. That's super easy.
Chat pointing out that Yagamoth's rupee count 1337. He's playing very elite right now.
Mhm. The flippers were in the very first chest or on the bridge in Misery Mire. So that was a very strange situation, but it did work out. And now both runners trading places, as Maximum Barnage will be heading into Ice Palace, and Yagamoth will be heading through Swamp. Alright, so which chests will Yagamoth check on the way to Argus? This is a big decision. I just noticed where that came from, dude. When you were talking about leads.
Ah, yes.
So, Yagamoth checking absolutely nothing on the way to Argus. And therefore, will be missing out on both the silver arrows and the butter sword. And this just tightened up this race.
Yeah, I don't even know if there's really any gap right now, and it's just going to come down to GT routing.
Indeed. One lucky guess in Ganon's Tower. One fall to Troll Dorm. Just a whole lot of situations where this could go back and forth the whole time. We're going to have ourselves a very interesting race on our hands. So Yagamoth picks up his 7th crystal. While Maximum Barnage makes a beeline for Cold Stare. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Yagamoth just achieved 7 crystals and is heading up to Ganon's Tower. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, to tell me where you think the big key will be in Ganon's Tower. There are 22 locations. 22 possible locations for that big key. One is in the torch, and there are 21 chests. We consider them all equal, and so does the randomizer. It is in the randomizer that is an exactly even chance to be in all 22 of those locations. So where do you think it's going to be, Korek?
I'm going to go with the rarely seen Fire Snake room.
Fire Snake Room. So that's the chest that you have to hookshot to get to that, to get across the gap. And, yeah.
Yeah, traditional
So,
routing,
for
that's
those
chest 9.
Yeah. For those of you who know me, I am contractually obligated to pick Bob's chest every time. And so, we will see. Yagamoth making his way to Ganon's tower. Meanwhile, Maximum Barnage successfully dispatches Cold Stare and will be heading up to Ganon's tower himself. Alright, so Yagamoth going with the traditional right 2 chest check, and what do we have here? Piece of Heart and 10 arrow upgrade. That means we will not be seeing a right side gamble.
Yeah, a runner would have to think they're behind to double back to the right side at this point. So I would assume both of our runners will just full clear the left.
And Bob gets to live today, as there's nothing of import on the torch. So Yagamoth goes into the Stalfos room. 4 chests in here. 50 rupees. Small key. Big key! That's number 6. Location number 6, ladies and gentlemen. This should be a pretty quick check for both players. And they'll be heading right up Ganon's tower.
The other thing that might come into play here, it'll be a minor difference, but Yagamoth is likely to open up some chests on his way up, where Maximum Barnage will likely skip all of them.
Looks like Maximum Barnage started the Ganon's tower opening about a minute and a half after Yagamoth. So Yagamoth is about 90 seconds ahead going in here, but 90 seconds, if I'm, depending on what you're doing, is pretty close to the difference between a silverless and a non-silverless Ganon fight.
Yeah, this is a very close race at this point, based on differences in Ganon's tower execution and that silver versus silverless. This could just come down to the wire.
So Yagamoth only has 4 hearts heading into the gauntlet, and will not opt to take the safeties, but Yagamoth also has potions, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I think Maximum Barnage is out of potions. He might have one left from earlier, but I think he is out.
Alright, Maximum Barnage picks up that big key and heads on immediately. I guess Yagamoth got bodied by Lionels. I remember that happening. Yagamoth having no trouble dealing with that gauntlet, only taking 2.5 hearts of damage throughout the entirety of it. Firing fire rod shots, hitting each land mower once. And so that is a 3-cycle land molas 2. As Maximum Barnage makes his way toward the gauntlet. Yagamoth going through some of my favorite rooms in the game, and making use of those potions.
Yeah, using the Cane of Samaria in these rooms is just very satisfying.
Feels great. Feels good. Unfortunately, Yagamoth having a little trouble pulling that off in the second room. Trying to decide if Yagamoth's name is a Magic the Gathering reference or not.
Maximum Barnage coming up on his land mode too.
Alright, so Yagamoth will be checking these chests here.
And getting the one cycle on Maximum Barnage's side.
Indeed. With the silver arrows, which is nice. Silver arrows are particularly finicky sometimes.
Moldorm 2 goes down very quickly.
So no trolling for Trolldorm 2, and the validation chest once again containing a big 20. Which I don't expect Maximum Barnage to open that chest.
No, not at all.
You can cry Dairy Queen all you want. He's not going to do it. Alright, so Yagamoth. Ooh. That looked like 3 projectiles hit him, but I think 2 of them hit at the same time, so it might have just been a double.
Yeah, it's hard to tell with that angle and how they hit. Just had a despawn there.
What?
One of the balls despawned because it got hit to the top of the room.
You were scaring me. I thought Maximum Barnage might have despawned Ganon's tower.
Nope, he's instead following up and hitting Yaga 2 very shortly after Yagamoth is leaving.
And Yagamoth jumps down into the Ganon fight. He's got tempered sword and no silver arrows. Alright, so there's... I believe that was 3 hits, for sure. And that was just 1. And there we go, Maximum Barnage takes him down as well. Maximum Barnage made up quite a bit of time in Ganon's tower, and this will be a close fight.
Yagamoth moving into phase 3, and Maximum Barnage will be dropping into the hole.
Ganon talking about burritos. Maximum Barnage gonna make very quick work of these first 2 phases of Ganon. That's 6 hits on Ganon's second phase. Maximum Barnage moves on to phase 3.
Oh, and Maximum Barnage did have a blue potion left.
Interesting.
Yagamoth did get the Fire Rod Torch glitch, which is huge.
Indeed. And Maximum Barnage moves on to phase 4. Did we find the arrows in Swamp Palace? He sure did. Not getting the torch glitch, not a big deal when you've got silvers. And Yagamoth takes it down. Very quick silverless Ganon fight. Hot dang.
Wow.
And Yagamoth finishes with an SRL time of 1:39.21. Meanwhile, Maximum Barnage finishes with an SRL time of 1:39.42. And this was a huge, extremely close race. Looks like Yagamoth will be joining us here in a minute for an interview. Yet to hear from Maximum Barnage, but it's quite possible.
Just an amazing race, an amazing finish.
Maximum Barnage is already in the waiting room. I think I'm going to bring him on in. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Hey, Maximum Barnage, GG.
GG, how's it going?
Oh, well, that was a thrilling race, let me tell you.
Oh well,
Bring in your opponent real
it was very thrilling for me. And then I tried to dot done and got sniped.
Oh.
So.
GG, well played.
Hello.
That was crazy. If it was really that close.
It was, in fact, that close.
I imagine the lamp really threw me off that seed.
I
Yeah,
have
we
no
still
idea
have
where
no
it-
idea where it is.
It makes no sense. Was it a catfish, maybe?
It's probably
it's not a
in
catfish.
Swamp Palace or Ice Palace.
In swamp or ice, because you didn't need it in order to get into those dungeons. I mean, I guess that makes sense.
The
But
only item that was technically lamp locked was the crystal for Eastern Palace.
right, yeah, and that kept throwing me off because I was like up near Turtle Rock, and I was like, okay, I have all the items that don't require the lamp. Do I mirror out? Did I miss the lamp? It was very strange to me where the lamp could have been. I think the proper play there at Turtle Rock, if I was going to make that dive, was to mirror out before going into the basement, because I didn't have lamp and I didn't have any protection items. So technically, Laser Bridge was locked by two things, and it was very unlikely that I missed both.
That makes a lot of sense. For me, it was... I figured I kind of knew where the lamp was. I didn't find the flute yet, so
Yeah.
I didn't know whether it needed the lamp or the flute to get up to Death Mountain. I just kind of assumed it might be the lamp at that point, so I did actually dive into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that was what killed me a little bit. Is I knew that I was missing something, and I was hoping that it was the flute actually when I was walking around the Dark World, because I knew the logic wouldn't let me up Death Mountain yet. So I just kind of played it patient and hit that Bombos tablet because it was one of the few locations I had left.
I see. So you hit the bomb boss or that tablet before you went up Death Mountain.
I hit the Bombos tablet before I went up Death Mountain, and then used the flute to go up Death Mountain just so I could clear Hera. Saw the hook shot up there and got that, but also got Bombos at Hera. So I thought that meant that they wanted me to do Turtle Rock. So I did Turtle Rock.
I see.
So, but yeah, the proper play would have been to get out of Turtle Rock before going to Laser Bridge, and I carried it all the way to Laser Bridge.
For me, it was just kind of, in my mind, it was still, the lamp was basically either Bombos tablet south of Grove or behind the graveyard. I didn't know which one, but it was just kind of either lamp or some other progression item it was. So I figured maybe I kind of missed the cape or the Cane of Burner somewhere, so I just decided to go on to.
Yeah. I guess the other thing that probably lost me time is I found the boots in Turtle Rock. So when I left Turtle Rock, I figured it could give me an advantage if you hadn't dove Turtle Rock and locations were at one of the boot lock locations. So that sent me up to North Dark World prior to going to Misery Mire area.
I see. For me, it was, I had kind of the same thought. Sorry, go ahead.
No. You're fine.
Alrighty. I had kind of the same thought, so I just decided to check out the boot location first of all, and then basically followed the breadcrumbs until I got the flute. Immediately dove into Misery Mire as soon as I found it, because there were not many locations left. I never actually went up to Zora.
Yeah, I did go up to Zora, just in that route of trying to check all of the final locations that could. That was while I was still looking for the flute or lamp actually to get up Death Mountain.
I see. For me personally, it was kind of like it was very likely that you would also dive into Turtle Rock, so I didn't see it as much of a gamble.
Yeah, it led. I mean, once you got up Death Mountain, the breadcrumbs kind of led you right in the direction of Turtle Rock.
So,
But-
Maxima Barnage, you hit go mode about 2 minutes after Yagamoth, but there was a play you made that caught you up. You want to tell Yagamoth what that was?
Yeah, I found the silver arrows.
Oh wow, where were they?
They were in Swamp Palace. I don't know what I was thinking. Like I kept telling myself, I was like, "You're in go, just go," and then instinct/reflexes just kicked in, and I kept checking chests. I also cleared Penguin Room in Ice Palace, got the chest, and was like, "Wait, what am I doing? I'm in go," and then I left. And then I cleared Double Friesel Room, and I was like, "Wait, I'm in go," and then I left. I kept doing that. I didn't know what I was doing. Like I couldn't stop myself.
I see. Yeah, I had the same thought. Maybe I could just check the chests along the way. No, let's just go. Because I normally check just kind of chests that are somewhat along the way until I either get gold sword or silver arrows, and decided to just kind of whatever, let's go.
So about that, apparently the Fat Fairy set up shop in Swamp Palace, because in that room has the 2 chests flooded underwater, silver arrows, butter sword, right next to each other.
Wow, I was
Yeah.
considering going there, but I guess, well, it worked out not going.
Yeah, and then I guess G Tower Execution just wasn't clean enough to catch me all the way up. And I guess I had one chance to get a silver arrow hit in that I missed on Yen. So, I mean, minor execution things made a lot of difference. I think probably.
Probably, yeah. But good game. I need to rewatch this. That's
Yeah,
really close.
Yeah, I'm not at all dissatisfied with that run. I'd say probably more dissatisfied with my logical choices and not following the logic of the lamp and then refusing to follow the logic of the lamp later, because that doesn't make any sense. Either you're waiting for the lamp or you're not. So beyond that, I thought execution was fine. It felt like a good race to me, and hopefully it was entertaining. It looked, based on the final times, it probably was.
So, Yagamoth, I have to ask you, are you used to using the Mog sprite?
I'm kind of used to it, yes.
Okay. Because Herfy Durfy's being asking about the bomb jump in Hera.
Oh, I see. Yeah, basically I practiced all bomb jumps with the mock sprite.
Yeah. Oh, but the bomb jump in Hera, excuse me, that was a great one. It was
Oh,
really cool. You
yeah.
had the two bombs set up. It was really cool.
Yeah, basically, I've never seen anyone else do that. I just kind of figured, let's try to figure this out, how that might work. The idea is basically that I don't have to get close enough to the hole, so I never have the risk of actually falling down, so I just use 2 bombs for setting that up.
Very nice.
I'll have to take a look at that one.
Yeah, I think somebody clipped it so you can see it. So I think we have another race about to start here on this channel.
Okay.
So we'll be doing that pretty soon. I have to ask one more question. Yagamoth, is your name intended to be a Magic the Gathering reference?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay.
I could explain it, but that might take a while. We
Okay,
don't want
that's
to
all I
today.
wanted to ask about. All right, so thank you both runners for coming in, talking about your run. It was a great run to watch, and it was really exciting right up until the end. Thank you so much for doing that. Make sure to give these runs a follow. It was great.
Yeah. GG's Yagamoth. Good luck in your next round.
Okay. Good luck to you as well, and thank you for
Alright.
commentary.
Thank you,
for
commentators,
tracking and
for
restream.
an early match.
Yeah. No
Right.
problem.
Bye, guys.
So, once again, thank you to our tracker, Dude, for taking care of all of our items on the screen. Pretty great. Thank you to you, Korek, for doing your commentary with me. And, of course, thank you to Fiesel for waking up at crazy times to start the stream going and make the stream go. Do you have anything you need to say, Korek?
Hey, just have a great day. Thanks for joining us, and stay tuned for another race.
So I have been Dr. Bob-tastic, and Korek is with me. And thank you all for watching. I will be signing off.